I'm going to the UN. Earlier this week, I got invited by an organization to fly to New York and Washington DC with 3 other influencers and content creators that are in the space of Israel advocacy. You know, it's still crazy to me to think that 8 or 9 months ago, I opened my camera, opened a YouTube channel with the intention of just sharing the truth. And now I'm finding myself here today, 9 months later, going to the States to do exactly what I've been doing in front of a camera for so long, which is going to share the truth, going to interact with people, going to do Israel advocacy. I can say that I'm really, really proud of myself because getting into the public speaking and the opportunity to go abroad, to get into that whole space has been on my agenda for a really, really long time. I have been relentlessly fighting on the internet, this media propaganda war on YouTube and on Instagram, opening a Discord and Patreon and just trying to interact with people all over the world every single day, putting everything else that I was doing to the side. I was in the space of fitness and basketball, and I can say that having not done this for a really long time, I've been able to accomplish a lot. It's not just about the amount of subscribers, it's not just about the amount of views that I'm getting on videos, but to be able to be selected as somebody who has been really giving it his all in this space for a short period of time and now seeing a lot of this good karma come out really reminds me that I'm on the right path, and I'm very, very proud of myself. I'm flying straight into New York City. I'll be there for a couple of days where we're going to be able to interact with locals on the ground, on the streets, and get their perspective on things and also challenge them, because as somebody who is from the United States but also moved to Israel, I have the opportunity to sort of think like an American as I am one, and I understand the media and the culture, and I'm also an Israeli because I speak Hebrew and I have access to all of the language and all of the things that are happening here on the ground. And that is exactly what this is about. It's one thing to be able to connect to people on the internet and on YouTube, but it's also another to be able to interact with them in person. And I'm excited, I'm anxious, and then from New York City, we're actually going to be going to Washington DC, where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is going to be speaking at Capitol Hill, and we're going to be going there to interact with all the people that are going to be at that engagement and really try and challenge them and get their perspectives and their opinions. I'm going to have the opportunity to go to the UN myself, maybe have the opportunity to also make some content, which is a really powerful thing that I still haven't even comprehended and wrapped my head around, because I talk about them a lot in the content that I make, whether it's for the good or for the bad. To now go there on the ground and be somebody who can really get some insight and be there and interact with the people who are there and try and understand better, but also try and provide all the perspective that I have here in Israel, is a full circle moment for me, for sure. But this is the first time that I'm having the opportunity to leave Israel, having really been in the trenches in this work for over half a year now. I'll see you guys in New York City. Good morning, this is day 1, Sunday, July 21st. I'm here in New York City, the Empire State Building right behind me. This is my first time doing this in person abroad. I've been doing it behind the phone for so long on YouTube, and now to actually be able to go do the thing I've been wanting to for so long, I'm very excited. And we'll be headed to Washington DC later this week, to Capitol Hill. And the energy here in New York City is incredible, the weather's nice.
Flip the screen 3 times.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you for being there. Thank you for protecting us, and we'll be there together soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tell us about what life has been like for you.
A mixed blessing. I spend time in Arizona too, and I'm here visiting my granddaughter. But then again, every day I'm reminded of what's going on in Israel.
Do you feel unsafe sitting here in the middle of New York City with your tag on?
I don't feel unsafe. I feel I'm watchful, but I grew up in New York, so you always have to be watchful in New York. But now I wear my pride, so I'm not afraid of that at all.
We have a lot of people back at home at Israel that would love to hear from someone like you here in the Jewish community here in New York City. Do you have any message of hope, any message of uplifting to anybody over back in Israel?
Like I say to my family once a week, at least in Herzliya, stay strong, we're with you, we love you. Same message to all the other Israelis there. Thank you, Craig. Thank you for being there, thank you for protecting us, and we'll be there together soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm here for you when people are running away from you.
Hello, good morning. It is Monday, July 22nd. Sorry I'm squinting a little bit, it's bright outside, but I'm here outside of the United Nations. We are headed inside in a little bit for a tour, take a look at the insides, the General Assembly rooms, Security Council rooms, and be able to meet some people inside. It's a really profound moment for me because for the past few months I've been talking about this place, this organization. So I'm going to show you guys around, and then after that we're going to go to Washington Square Park in New York City, set up some tables, have some debates, talk to some people, and carry on. So looking forward to it. famous flag entrance at the UN. I'm sure a lot of you recognize this, maybe from Google before. So to be here, they actually don't really always take regular tours here. So to have the opportunity to be here right now is pretty special. Just got to Washington DC. This is their train terminal here. Quite beautiful. We're heading now into the city, and tomorrow we are going to Capitol Hill. Good morning from Washington DC. Noy, you want to come say hello to the vlog? Look who I have with me.
Good
It's
morning,
Noy.
everyone. What's going on?
You got to come. We're headed. Where are we going?
We are going to Capitol Hill. Big protest today, as you know. In Israeli media, they say it's going to be absolutely wild. One of the craziest, if not the craziest, protest since the beginning of the war.
Why?
Because
Who's coming?
Good old Netanyahu is here and addressing Congress, so it's going to be super interesting.
Are you nervous?
No, I mean, I've been to these protests before. You know, you always get a bit of like the feeling because you never know who's going to be there. Like, I know we're good, we're safe, but there's some crazy people out there, and you saw what happened yesterday. They broke into Capitol, they got arrested. They have no limits.
No limits.
Bill, Noy, who is the most famous influencer that you know?
Oh yeah, buddy.
We love you.
All right, Michael, we love you.
We love you.
Are you ready? Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea! To normalize their racist agenda. They tried hard to wipe away their losses. We won't let it happen. Are we ready? However, we are here.
Our Fatwa Duqan, our Shirin Abu Aql, our Rifat al-Arid. We protest a genocidal maniac.
I'm here asking about peace and how to make peace. And you guys are refusing to have a conversation about having peace. So whose problem is that? We don't want peace, we want our land back. Okay? Get the f*** out of here, you piece of Because we're not your I'm not going anywhere and you're not going anywhere.
We're here in Washington, D.C. As you can see, behind me is the Capitol. We were at this protest against Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, the government. We spent the past few hours going around trying to talk to people, trying to have conversation, trying to engage. And while there were some successful conversations, there were more unsuccessful ones. What I mean by that is people being very violent, being very aggressive, not willing to have discourse, not willing to engage, circling around us like the middle of an eye of a hurricane, trying to get us out, people calling us names that I don't really want to say right now. And so in the 3 to 4 of us that went around, I'm super proud of our group for standing strong, for representing Israel, for having this dog tag, for bringing them home with this ribbon for the hostages around my neck the whole time, not afraid to go around. Law enforcement here, which sort of kept the scene safe, but it's really eye-opening being here live. And I can say yesterday I was walking around with my friend Abby, and I told him, like, I don't really miss Israel. Like, it's fun for me to be back in the States. And after the experience right now, being in the country where I'm from, with the Americans that I was born and raised with, being here now after this experience, I can tell you that right now I do miss Israel. I do miss that environment. I do miss that sense of family and togetherness, which it seems as if, based on the things that everybody here was shouting, there's no sense of community, no sense of togetherness, just separation, which is kind of the point of us coming here, is trying to extract that information from people, because they say they want a ceasefire, we want a ceasefire too. We want a ceasefire as long as there's no fighting. And until there's no hostages and until Hamas doesn't put their guns down, unfortunately, it's continue to go on. So for all the people here advocating for the people inside of Palestine, if you really cared about those people, you would also ask Hamas to put those guns down and to release the hostages. At the Capitol, there's so many. We were over there just a few minutes ago, now we're taking a break. Unfortunately, there were only a few people that...
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Cierre de calles y presencia de la Guardia Nacional, entre otros policías federales.
Oh man, this guy again. You on every side of town today, huh?
Defending the Jewish land.
No,
Yes,
you have
and then guess what happened?
an organization
From
that is a
1948,
terrorist
there were attacks.
You want to engage? What brings you here? You're taught not to engage? That's how we're supposed to get to peace. Fuck me, right?
Yeah.
That's how we're supposed to get to peace. You see what you're doing, right? You see what you're doing? You're proving the point. You're proving the point of the other conversation. We left Gaza in 2005. The IDF displaced themselves. And what was happening before borders were put up? His uncle was going in and out of Gaza buying vegetables and crops, and people were going in peacefully.
Okay.
What caused checkpoints? What caused checkpoints? Suddenly somebody woke up and decided to put a checkpoint in. If Canada came into America and started killing people like the Intifada during buses, there wouldn't be checkpoints next to Washington State. There's a reason and a cause and effect for everything. So for you to claim, yeah, we have to defend ourselves. Thank you.
There will be no war. Put your weapons down.
I'm here in front of the White House. We just finished trying to have discourse and conversation with an entire group of pro-Palestinian protesters. And again, we have so much footage of people not being willing to talk to us. When we came here to have conversations at the White House, we came yesterday to have conversations at Capitol Hill. We came 3 days ago to have conversations at Washington State Park. And it's very clear, even just by going up to people, that they are looking for fighting and not looking for peace or conversations. It's very, very evident. The police did an incredible job of keeping everybody safe. They were trying to separate anything that was turning into something potentially violent, and you can even see on the footage that there were so many of the pro-Palestinian protesters who started to curse at them, raise their finger, throwing water bottles at them while they're riding on bikes. The double standard is absolutely crazy, and so that wraps up the second day here at Washington DC. Today is my last day in the United States before I fly back to Israel, and I just want to talk about what I went through this past week in New York City and now in Washington DC. I have to be honest, when I was going into this trip, I was a little bit anxious of what was going to happen when we were in public, for example, in Washington Square Park, without any security, setting up tables in the heart of New York City with people who mostly aren't really with Israel at this point in time, and then going to the Capitol Hill, and going to one of the largest protests against Bibi Netanyahu, against Israel, being in the midst of that crowd with 3 to 4 other people who were sort of there to have conversation against tens of thousands, hundreds of people who were there to protest against Israel, protest against Bibi. And we weren't going there to support the government or support Bibi. We were going there to represent Israel, talk about our truth, and at least attempt to have conversation. And then yesterday, going to the White House, which was a spontaneous thing, to go to another protest. We didn't have security this week. And I think being in Israel for so long, it's a little bit of a comfort zone when you're, doing this on YouTube or Instagram and you're talking about everything that you're seeing the footage of. But then when you come and you're in the eye of the hurricane itself, it hits different. At no point in time was I super scared, but I sort of was expecting things to escalate. And I have to be honest, one of the most surprising things that I can take away from this past week is I am baffled and I still don't understand how so many people here don't really know what happened on October 7th. And I really mean that. They used the word might and if and possibly and maybe when combating the claims that I made as true statements of what actually happened and took place in Israel on October 7th. A lot of them deny the allegations of women being raped. A lot of them deny the allegations of heads being chopped off. A lot of them deny the allegations of Hamas being the ones who killed Israeli people. They are all convinced that this was an IDF, an Israeli initiative to kill their own people. They don't even call the IDF, they call it the IOF, the Israeli Occupation Force. Going into this trip, I understood that people think that Hamas is a resistance movement. They think that it's a fight for freedom, and many of them support them. We saw Hamas flags, we saw Hezbollah flags, we saw ISIS flags. The things that people were shouting and saying, I'm actually not even allowed to say on camera. So I'm aware of the fact that many of the people that I was going to attempt to talk to, once they found out that I am Israeli and from Israel, and that the people who I was with were in the IDF, we immediately get labeled terrorists. We immediately get labeled genocide and baby killers. We immediately get labeled the cause of all of the havoc, and they wished many things upon us that I can't say on camera. And it's incredible to me because you can't show one piece of footage where I cursed at somebody to put them down or to make them feel like they should go die, where I wish death upon anybody else. If somebody denied a rape allegation, of course I would combat that and say how bad of a person that person is to think that when there's footage right in front of them. And I asked if they wanted to see the footage. Somebody asked me about all the bombings at all the hospitals. I said, name one hospital that Israel bombed. They said the Shifa hospital. I said, perfect. Let's Google right now and show me exactly what happened. And even the New York Times corrected themselves. And when I came to the table to show proof of all of these things, which I knew before the trip they were going to come to talk to me about, none of them were willing to look at the truth. And all of them walked away. Most of the people, when you go up to them, they turn their backs, or their friend says, don't talk to them. They're trained not to engage. They're trained not to talk. They're trained not to actually have conversation. And I was called ignorant this whole time. Ignorant by people who had their masks on. They won't show their face, but I'm the ignorant one. And I'm the coward one. I came all the way from Israel to try and have conversation with people. Going up to people with the camera saying, do you want to have a conversation about how we can have peace? Do you want to have a conversation about what is going on? Do you want to have a conversation about what brings you here? And it's a very brave step, and I'm super proud of the guys to go into the trip with at least this assumption that what happened on October 7th, the killing, the massacre, the brutality, all those things, that the people that I would be speaking to, like the baseline understanding, I thought, was that they are aware of the events. Now, of course, they support those and I don't. Many of the people that I interacted with don't even really know what happened. I knew this because I've made videos about how social media and the information systems that are systematically put in place for people to have their own ideologies at this point. I'm aware of the fact that what people were scrolling through over here in North America while I was scrolling through stuff in the Middle East and Israel are two different timelines, two different feeds, two different algorithms built for two different people. I'm aware of that. But then those people also choose not to look at the other side. None of them have ever chosen to look at the other conversation. I've chosen to step into the Telegram chats of people who are supporting Hamas. I've chosen to step into the Telegram chats of people inside of Gaza, because how am I supposed to at least have conversations with the other people if I'm not willing to understand where they're coming from? That would only be 100% bias on what I think and what I know and what I believe. And that's exactly what I interacted with for this whole week. The damage is severe. The anti-Semitism is severe. The hatred is severe. The violence is severe. The want and the need for them to want to be angry and choose to be aggressive, it's growing as we speak. I must say there were not too many other groups or people, influencers, content creators doing what we were doing, and I give ourselves a lot of credit. I'm sure you've seen all the footage at this point of what they did to the Liberty Bell and what they did to the flagpoles. They took the American flags down in front of Union Station. They burnt the American flags, filmed it. We actually, if you see the video of the guy going around with the flag, he's one of the people that we were talking to in the beginning and at the end of the day. It's really, really sad and dangerous to understand the amount of separation and brainwashing that is going on. It's really something to see in person. And this is, again, my first real delegation abroad, having the opportunity to go and really interact with some people. I'm headed back to Israel. I'm super glad and grateful for this opportunity. You can't understand what is going on until you go to that place. Like, you have to physically be in that place to understand. That's why I keep saying, if you're going to choose to talk about somewhere in the world, you better have gone to that place before you choose to talk about it. All of these people, the far majority of them, would ask them, hey, have you ever been to Israel? Have you ever been to the Middle East? No. They haven't. And if I could go to Gaza, I would go to Gaza. I'm not allowed to go to Gaza, you know? And these people over here in America, I hope you guys enjoyed the vlog. This was, I hope, the first of other delegations and the first of other really important work that I'm going to be able to do on the ground, the really hard, difficult work. This is the work that people don't want to do. And I have to say, at Washington Square Park, we had a couple people, and in New York City and in Washington, that I was able to have a conversation with. We didn't agree with each other when we walked away. But agreeing with somebody and being willing to understand that they have a different perspective are two different things. And I'm not looking to get somebody to necessarily agree with me, while that would be amazing in the jackpot, and vice versa for them. But I am willing to hear someone else's perspective, even though I might see it completely differently, based on my opinions, but also based on my facts and my truth, which support those opinions. And that's it for now. I'll see you guys back in the homeland.